In just the last 5 years or so, social media has gone through this seismic shift. The platforms that we all signed up for, the ones that promise connection and community, they've morphed into something that, for a lot of us, just feels, well, kind of harmful. A total whirlwind of viral stunts, constant anxiety, and just plain burnout. So today, we're going to dig into why it feels like social media has gotten so much worse and what this quiet but growing rebellion against it actually looks like.
I mean, look at this. This is what Instagram still tells new users. It's the promise, right? See photos and videos from your friends. But if you actually use the app, you know this is a million miles away from the content machine it's become. This one sentence, it just perfectly captures the huge gap between what we want from these platforms and what we're actually getting.
So yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? How on earth did we get here? This wasn't some accident or an overnight change. It was a series of very deliberate decisions and tech shifts that completely rewired our online world. Let's start at the very beginning.
Okay, so to really get this, we've got to rewind back to the mid-2000s. This was the rise of what people called Web 2.0. And honestly, it was a super idealistic, revolutionary moment that promised to give the internet to everyone.
See, before this, the internet was basically a read-only thing. You could go online and read the news, sure, but you couldn't easily add your own voice. But as Patreon CEO Jack Conte explains it, Web 2.0 changed the entire game. For the first time ever, regular people like you and me could upload, share, and broadcast our own ideas. The internet became a two-way street.
And out of this new participatory web came a piece of internet architecture that was truly profound. And it was so simple. The act of following someone. That one little button put you in the driver's seat of your own online experience. And the power of the follow was that it was all about your choices. You decided who you liked. You chose who you wanted to hear from. You personally built your own feed, piece by piece. It felt like your own little corner of the internet, a space built around real connections and things you were genuinely interested in. But as we all know, that user-first model, well, it wasn't destined to last. And this brings us to the big turning point, the great monetization. As soon as these platforms went public, they started facing this immense pressure from investors, all asking the same question. How do you turn all these users and all this connection into cold, hard cash?
Well, the answer they landed on was an advertising model that created this incredibly powerful loop you see here. It starts with getting more users, yeah, but the real goal shifted from connection to attention. The longer they could hold your attention, the more data they could collect on you, and that let them sell better, more targeted, and way more expensive ads. The entire system started optimizing for just one thing, keeping your eyeballs glued to the screen for as long as humanly possible.
And this is the really crucial point. We, the users, we weren't the customers anymore. The advertiser was. As Jack Conte puts it so perfectly, these companies built machines designed to convert human attention directly into revenue. Every single design choice, every new feature was now aimed at that one goal. So what does that mean? It means new features weren't really being designed to improve our lives or make us feel more connected. They were designed to exploit our basic psychological vulnerabilities. I mean, just think about a feature like Infinite Scroll, a seemingly tiny innovation that had a massive, massive impact. And this quote from Asa Raskin, the guy who actually invented Infinite Scroll, wow. It just captures the unintended consequences perfectly. He says he was blind to how it would be used, not for people, but against people. By just removing the natural stopping points on a page, like turning the page of a book, his creation quietly steals hundreds of hours from our lives every single year.
So just as this ad-driven model was really taking hold, a brand new player showed up and completely changed the game all over again. And that, of course, was TikTok.
Now, most people think TikTok's big secret weapon was short-form vertical video. But that's not really it. The real, honest-to-God game-changing innovation was that TikTok basically threw the entire concept of the follow right out the window. And when you put the two models side by side, the difference is just, it's night and day. In the old follow feed, you chose what you saw. It was all based on your friends and your interests. In the new algorithmic model, the platform chooses for you. It doesn't care who your friends are, it only cares about what will keep you watching for one more second. Your feed isn't curated by you anymore, it's optimized by a machine for maximum addiction.
And boy did it work. It was so ridiculously effective at capturing attention that platforms like Instagram and Facebook started bleeding users to TikTok. They were faced with a pretty stark choice: copy this new model or risk becoming the next MySpace. And, well, we all know what they chose. They all copied it.
Okay, so This universal shift to the algorithmic feed, it's had some pretty profound and, frankly, negative consequences for our collective mental health.
You see, as author Johann Hari explains in his book Stolen Focus, the algorithm is totally neutral about your well-being. It doesn't care if a video makes you feel calm and happy or outraged and angry. It only has one question: will this keep you scrolling? And it just so happens that we humans tend to stare at negative, outrageous, and shocking content for way longer than positive, calm stuff.
And what's the result of all this? Social media has become less and less social. In fact, Meta itself admitted in a recent trial that by 2025, they expect only 7% of the time people spend on Instagram will be viewing content from their actual friends. Let that sink in. Just 7%.
And people are really, really feeling it. The sentiment, especially with young people, is turning sharply negative. A recent poll found that a whopping 2/3 of 16 to 24-year-olds now believe social media does more harm than good. I mean, that's not how you talk about something you love. That's how you talk about a toxic relationship that's making you miserable.
This quote from Jack Conte just hits the nail on the head. We find ourselves spending hours and hours paying attention to things that just don't align with our values, things that don't bring us joy or meaning. And that disconnect, that gap between what we truly value and what we're tricked into giving our attention to, that is the core of the pain so many of us are feeling.
But this isn't all doom and gloom. This widespread feeling of dissatisfaction is actually fueling a quiet, but very, very real rebellion.
And you can see this pushback happening everywhere. Digital detoxes, which used to be this fringe idea, are now totally mainstream. You've got minimalist, dumb phones making a huge comeback. Artists are creating phone-free spaces at their concerts. People are joining offline clubs just to meet other people in person. And of course, tons of people are just deleting the apps for good.
But amidst all this chaos, there is a real reason for hope. As Jack Conte reminds us, we have to remember, the internet is still brand new. I mean, humanity has only been trying to figure all of this out for about 2 decades. We're still in the early days, and it's totally natural that there would be some serious growing pains.
And that really leaves us with this huge, fascinating final question. We've seen the internet's idealistic childhood, and we are definitely living through its chaotic, angry adolescence. So what comes next? What does a mature, healthy, and truly social internet even look like? That's the future that we are, right now, responsible for building.